This place looks deserted. Guess all the survivors must have evacuated already. All that's left here are signs of devastation. Could Farina really be here? Let's try to find her as soon as possible. That's Farina, right over there.
Should I just give up? This is all what was meant to happen did happen after all. Everyone, I'm sorry. I am so sorry. Give up, Farina. There's no point in holding out. I'm sorry. But what can I even do other than to repeat meaningless apologies over? Who's that?
Don't worry, Farina. It's just us.
So it is you, blonde traveler from another land. Why, I almost thought you were someone from that
Farina, you were crying just now, weren't you? The tear stains on your face are obvious.
What do you mean, tear stains? Oh, I remember. The show at the Opera House earlier this morning was so moving. I'm still trying to process it. Who did that uncivilized rabble think they were, disturbing my enjoyment of the arts? They even dared to tout their Archon. I must teach them a lesson. Oh, and I'm sure Nouvellette and those people from the Marish Chaussee Phantom are freaking out right next to them, too. Of course not.
Hey, there she is! The Hydro Archon's over there! Quick, after her!
Farina, those people seem to be after you.
They are? They're just some rabid fans who want to cut the line. That's against the rules. I can't let them get their way.
Farina just ran off. Quick, we have to catch up with her. This should be the place, right? Hey, Farina! There's a good hiding spot over here. Quick, come to Paimon before the rest of them catch up to you.
What? Oh,
Hurry, they're almost here.
fine. I suppose haste is warranted. I'm so tired. I totally thought they had caught me. No, I mean, I merely gave in to the sheer enthusiasm they'd... You're right.
Yep, that's a good girl.
What's happening? The ground's shaking.
Yeah, a quake of this kind preceded the flooding in Poisson, didn't it?
It can't be. It's...
Well, there's no need to worry too much about that. Nouvellette's made some emergency plans, so they have...
Yeah, I hope you're right. But the people of Poisson, they've already... It's true. I've been investigating the prophecy for hundreds. I once had informants all over Tevat, searching for clues and feeding information back to me. I've tried all kinds of ways, too, to hold back the sea. Anything to keep the coastline from advancing. But all my efforts proved to be futile in the end. Really, the truth has been clear to me for a very long... We cannot make an enemy of the divine. No matter what we do, the will of the heavenly principles will have its way, and the prophecy shall be fulfilled. Give up. I do love the sound of that phrase. It would mean finally coming to terms with fate, but also for me to finally be free. Indeed, I've thought about giving up so many times. Fate is really unreasonable, isn't it? It has no heart and obeys no rules. The prophecy has only just started to come true, but just now, it all became clear to me. I still don't have the right to come to terms with fate as long as the final moment hasn't come. It's still not too late. Don't worry. I will keep hope alive for everyone and... Well, that's enough for now. I got the impulse to play. Don't take any of what I just said seriously. Oh,
Come on! Paimon could have sworn you were actually being on.
Share my burden. That's impossible. It was fated right from the start that this would be my duty alone. A witness. Yes, I've heard that you came to Tevat from beyond. And if Tevat is, in its entirety, a show on a stage...
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes my opening performance. Now, without further ado, we may proceed to the trial of our god.
So this is what it is. Yes, you deserve praise for the effort you took to raise the dramatic... Do not forget, however, that I am Focalor, the god of justice. The embodiment of justice itself. Does it not strike...
May I interpret these words as your refusal to stand trial? In that case, you will have the opportunity to defend your honor through a duel.
You would draw your blade against a god? I see. It seems like you have made up your mind.
Paimon can't believe it.
What the heck is going on? Did I just see an Archon surrender to—
Wow, how utterly humiliating.
Lady Farina, what is the meaning of this?
Shh! It would seem that there has been a misunderstanding. To be clear, the raising of both hands is not always an indication of surrender.
Looking for excuses again, huh?
I raised my hands just now to indicate my acceptance of the trial. I will admit that I've been running away for a long... I'm sorry, everyone. I was unable to protect the people of Poisson. It is my duty to stand trial for my crimes. You are not the only ones to be disappointed in me. I, too, am exceedingly disappointed in myself. But now, it is time for the Hydro Archon to show you her courage and resolve. I, Farina, will use this trial to show the world the true meaning of justice. This time, I will protect you. Applaud and rejoice. One of the most outrageous and fantastical arcs known to the opera epiclese. Mark my words. This shall be one of the most exhilarating and brilliant shows ever to grace the stage of Fontaine.
Woohoo!
Oh, now we're making history.
Why does it feel like Farina just took over the whole thing? Like, come on! Didn't she just get forced to stand Also, even though she's still acting super dramatic, she is taking this seriously this time.
All right, then. Who will be my opponent?
The court asks the prosecutor to please take the stand.
Is that so? Very well. Then please speak, witness of Tivat. Also, please allow me to ask, as a final question, just how much work did you do to force...
Well, we did do a lot of prep after the meeting that day.
I can go over the tasks assigned to the Spina di Rosula, since they were rather straightforward and easy.
Navia, the president of the Spina di Rosula.
Most of the people who participated in the disturbance this morning were my subordinates. They changed into plain clothes and came to the Opera House as regular audience members, waiting for the perfect opportunity to incite. The people's resentment against their Archon has been building as more and more of the prophecy. Moreover, according to our understanding and analysis of you, so we arranged for a second group to...
So, you mean... the ones who scoured the settlement for me?
And their goal was to force you to step into the giant magic box so you may personally participate in the greatest magic performance in...
That's right. That house was a magic box, rather than someone's residence.
As the super ultimate version of the setup that I used when I first performed at the opera, the volume of the box was increased by a whole order of magnitude, and the distance it traversed was the entire gap between Poisson and Aranias, was an Archon instead of a human. My thanks, Farina. Without your help, we could never have pulled off...
You're welcome?
Of course, this performance was only made possible with Father's support. The House of the Hearth spent a massive amount of labor in Mora to pull this. We had to select a location, construct the giant magic box, dig a tunnel, and open up a path through the water.
So, in other words, the earthquake that we felt within the giant...
That's right. It wasn't a sign of another disaster to come.
Then, I can guess Nervilette and Cloran's parts. You gathered a crowd, prepared a stage, and made sure that the champion duelist would be immediately ready for a fight. Also that as soon as I appeared on the stage, the trial may commence without a hitch.
Yes, that is correct.
Well, Clorand, I must commend you for your courage. Only the most outstanding champion duelist in all of Fontaine.
Thank you.
As for you, traveler, I suppose your role was to keep me distracted with conversation once you found you'd make sure that I didn't notice anything amiss before revealing yourself as my prosecutor once we'd arrived onto the stage. Oh? Is that so? It's fine. It matters not. What's done is done. The stage is already set, so there's no reason to disappoint the audience. Let's see this trial through.
Madam Prosecutor, please allow me to pass this. This is a document that Miss Charlotte applied for and received permission to share.
Huh? Charlotte wanted to give us something? Oh, so she's here too! Hey, Charlotte! Oh, let Paimon see. Wait. Then that means this. So in other words, we can refer to this anthology. Let's quickly confirm the information in it. Just think of it as a refresher, alright?
You defeated the Hydro Archon in the very first duels you took part. I didn't think that you'd wind up getting to the bottom of the case. This is the first time Monsieur Nerville, a Fatui Harbinger. She's an the fortress of Merib. According to Monsieur Nervillet, both the words of someone as
The prosecution and the defense are both in position. The trial shall now begin.
Oh, come on, Nervilette. There's no need to repeat all. Just fast forward to the part where the prosecution lays out my offenses. As the defendant and the lead actress of this performance, I still haven't even been informed of my supposed guilt in all of this. Of course, it is only natural for humans to struggle to understand the actions of a god. However, you will need more than that to convict me of a crime.
That's true, but my charge here is unrelated to your conduct as an Archon. Instead, I would like to charge you as a fraud who's never been the Archon in the first place.
Wait, what was that? Lady Farina's a fraud?
Hey, I came here thinking that we were going to try the Hydro Archon for forsaking her duty, but...
Charge accepted. Lady Farina, do you plead guilty to the charge? Lady Farina.
I plead not guilty. How can I be guilty? There is no way that I, Focalor, otherwise known as Farina de Fontaine, a member of the Seven and the Regina of all waters, kindreds, peoples, and laws of Fontaine...
Yeah, even though Lady Farina can be rather eccentric, isn't it going too far to doubt her very identity?
Yeah, I've never questioned her identity either. Sure, Lady Farina...
I have cause to believe that common sense will prevail in this case. Many of the members of the audience have known me as the Hydro Archon ever since they were born. There would be no See? Even the Oratrice has decided to show me its favor. Are you sure you want to commit to it? If you wish to drop the case, I can promise you as the God of Justice that you will not have to face trial for making a false accusation.
An argument with near impossible odds, huh? We have to not...
Well, I tried to give you the chance to surrender. If you must persist, then let me ask. If you believe I'm not the and if I was not the Archon, then...
That doesn't sound right. Paimon doesn't think this... That doesn't sound right. Paimon doesn't... First of all, you may be a member of another long-lived race, which would allow you to naturally possess an extended lifespan. And second of all, even if that wasn't the case, there could...
Who gave you that idea? Was it the knave? you'd sink so low as to use a harbinger's words against me.
A curse? I once thought it possible that the aura of an Archon might naturally resemble a type of curse, but in light of this claim, perhaps what I sensed was not your divinity.
You sensed it too, huh, Nervalet?
Lady Farina is actually a human?
Well, it is true that it's extremely difficult to tell human.
Well, don't start celebrating too early now. Even if Besides, everyone knows that the main difference between for centuries, manifestations of one need only to turn their eyes towards the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinal in this very opera house.
That doesn't sound right. You tried to reference the Oratrice, but weren't you as confused as all the rest of us when the Oratrice declared Child to be guilty without any proof? Otherwise...
Didn't I make myself clear at the time? The decisions of the gods are naturally difficult for humans.
Lady Farina, I believe a reminder of your current circumstances while the court is in session. The principles of justice and the law must come. You will prove yourself unable to defend against the prosecution's charges.
I never thought you'd use that kind of
That was no trick of rhetoric, Lady Farina. I've merely reiterated the rules of...
So, you neither knew why Child was declared guilty. Instead of having been created by you, the manifestations of authority you made...
The real Hydro Archon. Well, now you're really losing. It is true that I did not know why but the Oratrice handed out that verdict, You can't argue that just because
She's still throwing out all kinds of excuses.
My power as an Archon.
If that poses a concern, I'm...
You don't need to go that far.
Aren't you the Hydro Archon? Or is it that you can't even wield the power of...
Indemnitium! Yes! It's all because of Indemnitium! All Archons derive their power from the faith of the people, and I've converted the people's faith. Thus did I give up all of my divine power to provide every...
Isn't that a huge stretch?
Yeah, no matter how generous an Archon can be.
It seems like nobody's buying Farina's excuse.
Hey, come now, everyone. I'm still the same Farina you knew, right, please?
If what the prosecutor said is true, she really...
Did she deceive all of us?
Enough. That's enough. Tell me then, if I'm not if you have no evidence of another Hydro Archon's existence, nor can you find anyone who can...
Wow, she came up with yet another argument. That doesn't sound right. That doesn't... That doesn't sound... It has been established that all Fontanians can dissolve in water from the...
Since you insist on claiming to be a god and not a human, then there's a method that you can use right here.
Miss Navia, please apply to serve as a temporary attorney for the prosecution before addressing the court. Though you act in partnership with the prosecution...
Super sorry, Monsieur Chief Justice. I swear this really will be the last time that I'll speak out of turn. Now, I've brought some seawater from Poisson. As everyone knows, a massive flood struck the area not long ago, including those of some of my closest friends. So, Miss Farina, would you dare to touch some of the seawater? If we are to believe that you are indeed the real Hydro Archon, touching the seawater would have no effect on you. All it should do is strengthen. But if you don't dare to touch it, then we would have basically proved the reverse. Oh, and I must remind you that after the disaster at Poisson, nobody wants to see any more. I do hope you'll act prudently and choose the simpler path of admitting guilt.
Navia from the Spina di Rasula. The Spina has governed Poisson for many years.
If Lady Farina is indeed just a human, she's probably Fontanian like all the rest of us. Would she really dare to try?
Lady Farina, this test has been unilaterally proposed by the prosecution. As it falls outside the...
Well, of course he had to tell her that. But refusing to participate is basically the same as a...
She's just staring at the water without saying a single word.
What's going on? Is she really planning to...
Due to the inherent risk of the test, Lady Farina, you may...
Hey!
I'm fine! Look at me, everyone! Will you believe me now? I really am your Archon!
Miss Siegewin? If you're present, Miss Siegewin, please come forward and...
Siegewin?
Don't be nervous. It'll just take a few seconds. Let me see. That's...
Please announce the results of your evaluation to...
As everyone doubtlessly saw, Miss Farina was displaying symptoms of hyperventilation and flushed skin. She was experiencing the adverse effects of exposure to primordial seawater. The extent to which she was affected...
Thank you, Miss Siegewin. Lady Farina, you may
Oh, wait. What did she just say? I didn't get dissolved. Shouldn't that be enough to prove my
Well, considering your tendency to run from your problems, we did originally prepare a direct sample of this. However, after extensive discussion, we exchanged it for a sample that is not concentrated enough to dissolve an... We don't want anyone else to lose their life to the sea.
Yeah, so out of regard for Farina's life, you secured a low-concentration sample. It's a great thing that the direct sample wasn't actually used for...
I can't believe... Listen to me, everyone! Please don't give me such cold and disdainful looks! Think about it! How can you conclusively prove that an Archon... Also, if I was really... Please, anyone, just listen to me! I swear, I really am your Archon!
I don't think anything she says at this point will sway anyone. The odds are just too stacked against her now.
With all the things that have been said, Paimon doesn't think there's any way left for Farina.
I believe the time for arguments and presentation of evidence has come to an end. If there are no objections, we will move on to the final judgment.
I don't think anything she says at this point will sway anyone. She's too stacked against her now.
In my capacity as Chief Justice, I shall now render judgment on Farina's misrepresentation of herself as the Archon of Fontaine. As a human who knowingly deceived her fellow citizens, Farina is... guilty. We shall now turn to the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinale to render the final verdict on the charges. According to the judgment of the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinale, Farina...
Well, what's wrong? What's the Oratrice's verdict?
No, the Oratrice also displays a guilt.
Isn't that correct then?
However, the exact wording of the verdict is thus. The Hydro Archon, guilty, to be punished via the death sentence.
The death sentence?
That's actually one of the available sentences? I've always thought that it was just a...
The one and only time the death sentence has been handed out at the court. And it's been given to the very person we've worshipped as the...
Farina's been sentenced to death by the Oratrice? We just wanted to use the trial to show her the seriousness of things so she'd tell us the truth.
This outcome is indeed quite strange. According to Fontaine's current definitions of justice, as well as its recommendations for criminal sentences, is this sentence really appropriate for the crimes that have been committed?
Yeah! Even Fauché wasn't sentenced to death by the Oratrice. You know, the real evil mastermind behind the serial disappearances case.
Indeed. Not only is Farina's sentence overly excessive, the very point of our trial today was also to prove that Farina has never been the Hydro Archon in the first place. But now, the Oratrice seems to have deliberately invoked the title of the Hydro Archon.
Excuse me, if I may interrupt. Is the trial still going?
Fremine! You finally made it. I assume this means you've completed...
Mm-hmm. Any mission Father assigns to me will all...
Is that the first prophecy? Huh. So the knave privately arranged for Fremine to try and find the missing...
I looked everywhere and finally found it at the bottom of the sea. It took me a long time to... But has the trial already concluded?
Thank you for your hard work, Mr. Fremine. Please allow me to review... Traveler, I believe that you have already seen the other existing slates, and would like you to come here and...
Huh? So what do you see? What is it?
I believe I have now made sense of the Hydro Archon's crime.
Huh? Isn't the Hydro Archon just guilty of deceiving her people? Oh, wait, no, that's Farina, and we've already proven that she's not the Hydro Archon. So when you say Hydro Archon, do you mean the real Hydro Archon we've been kinda talking about?
In truth, everything that you've encountered in Fontaine up until this point can be traced back to the contents of these stone slates. However, I'm uncertain as to how much sense they currently...
Okay, let's try to recall the contents of the other 3 stone slates. The first stone slate describes what you just said. Does that mean that Fontanians are transformed Oceanids? The second stone slate shows Celestia floating. This must be the point when the Hydro Archon and the Fontanians were branded with. The third slate shows the Hydro Archon seeking. That reminds Paimon, didn't? Well, the fourth slate is the prophecy the Fontanians have been. We didn't believe that such a crazy disaster could happen if. That doesn't sound... That doesn't sound... That doesn't sound... That doesn't sound...
We know from the case of the serial disappearances of young women
that Fontanians can be dissolved in and the first stone slate tells us that long ago the Hydro Archon used her power to turn Oceanids into humans. Perhaps what is about to take place has all happened before. The true sin of the Hydro Archon that Nervilette mentioned, and the original sin cast down on the people of Fontaine by Celestia as recorded on the stone slates. It's not as simple as falling into the sea. When Navia fell into the sea, her consciousness was subjected to judgment. The stone slates show the people gathered around the Hydro Archon in the sea. Could that be alluding to the same thing?
That doesn't sound...
The prophecy from the stone slates found its way into society, but not many people believed it at first. The fortress of Meropide was nearly flooded with primordial seawater, which we know can cause Fontanians to dissolve. If we hadn't dealt with it in time, things could have gone
They'll dissolve into the primordial sea but won't cease to exist. Their essence will flow in the seawater. The Hydro Archon was sentenced to death in court, shocking everyone present. Navia fell into the water inside those ruins, and she nearly dissolved. She was surrounded by the people of Poisson in a court within her. The eruption of the primordial sea at the fortress of Meropide was the surest sign that the prophecy was about. The prophecy's contents can all be verified by recent events. Huh? Oh, Paimon gets it now! But then it feels like we're going to have to share.
Let's hear them.
Incredible! Linny, did you hear that?
We're not real humans.
All Fontanians were originally created by the late previous Hydro Archon. The evidence for that can be found in how only Fontanians could dissolve in primordial seawater. And and according to Navia, when she was about to get dissolved, she also saw everyone gathered around for a trial.
Indeed.
Yeah, and it follows from the content of the first slate that she probably anchored Celestia by creating humans without prior... That could also explain why the Oratrice judged the Hydro Archon to be guilty.
The Hydro Archon's true sin was creating us?
And yet, after many hundreds of years, the Hydro Archon's creations have turned around to try to judge the Archon within the Opera Epiclese.
Yeah, isn't the image here just like when Navia fell into the sea? So wouldn't it be trying to show the image of the Hydro Archon also falling into the sea once the prophecy has been fulfilled? In the end, the people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only the Hydro Archon will remain weeping on her throne. Only then will the sins of the people of Fontaine be washed away. Did Paimon get all that right?
You've made some keen deductions. I must say, given how much you still don't know, it is impressive that, however, while you were able to decode all the information on the slates, they've also... When we were at the ruins, I tried... Now that the slate collection is complete, I shall make another attempt. I believe I should share this truth not only with you, but with all the people of Fontaine as well. Your hypotheses regarding the origin of Fontanians and the sin of the Hydro Archon. In the Fontaine of old, the previous Hydro Archon sensed the yearning of her Oceanid familiars for life on land. The Oceanids were enamored with the beauty and romanticism of human beings, and wishing to have those experiences for themselves, expressed to the... However, Even though water as an element is intricately linked with the power of life, the not one to give in, she eventually found a way to create permanent humanoid bodies for her familiar. She poured primordial seawater, but if Fontainians were to ever come into direct contact... Of course, the Hydro Archon never received permission from the heavenly principles to create a new human race, and thus, the Hydro Archon and all of her creations came to shoulder the original sin of appropriating the power of the primordial sea. That is the true history.
So you...
That's way too much information for me. Wait, but if that's the truth, we can't let the
This really might be too much information for your...
Alas, your hypothesis regarding the third and fourth stone slates was a key point of the visual on the third slate is how they have not been dissolved. The nation of Fontaine is the nation of Hydro, as well as the nation... You may also recall Navia's experience. When she... Therefore, the meaning that the people of Fontaine shall try the Hydro Archon. Yes, it refers to our present situation.
I think I'm following now. So, what, in truth, everything we've done has...
What should we do?
Huh. No matter what, the prophecy will be fulfilled.
If that's the case, does that mean the scene...
Traveler, I would like to point out another small fallacy about the fourth slate. You probably thought that the eruption of primordial seawater beneath the fortress of... However, I believe that rather than being a sure... As for the root cause of the catastrophe... This eruption was just a small warning of the things to come. We must find the root cause.
It was both dream and reality.
If we're talking about a true culprit, that could only be that thing inside the...
The truth, the original sin, the trial, and the root cause of the disaster.
That was way too close! How did that thing just burst into the Opera House? Wait, was that the huge whale you saw in your...
So we've met it at last. I understand very well why it is chosen to make... That whale does not belong to Tevat. It has been greedily consuming the energy from the planet's... And once it has finished consuming...
You said that when the Hydro Archon first created Fontainians out of Ocean...
Precisely. That whale finds the blood. Therefore, when it left the primordial sea, it is...
We just barely managed to push it back, right? In that case...
That is correct. Indeed, it is more accurate to say that we should thank that Harbinger for buying us some time. From the way he looked, he must have been fighting the creature for quite a long time.
That battle maniac. We've always known that he had a special connection with that whale, but we definitely didn't expect it to. Anyway, now that we know that this whale is the actual cause of the disaster
It is too late. It had already absorbed too much of the primordial sea's energy before we could notice. Even if the entirety of Tevat were to be destroyed, it could still survive.
That's not something we've already done everything we can, and we even found we've come so far. You can't.
Indeed, that's not how a grand performance.
I'll fight it to the end, no matter what.
So the prophecy will be fulfilled no matter what, huh?
The prophecy. Yes, what has been prophesied Just as prophecies are usually only the future as seen from the perspectives of the gods, ultimately, fate shall serve as your only guide, no matter what will happen in Tevat's future. All you need to do
What's happening with the aura trees?
I believe it is preparing to carry out the death sentence.
Farina! No, I still need answers.
You.
Sorry. That shocked expression on your face is just too amusing.
You are not Farina. Who?
The sweet sound of bewilderment. Marvelous. A sure sign that my attempt to deceive everyone was a resounding success. But to answer your question...
Fosolo. Why did you deceive us?
Oh, that wasn't my goal, of course. Goodness, no. But I had to fool everyone else, too. The heavenly principles.
Deceiving the heavenly...
It's all because of that pernicious prophecy. Dreadful, wasn't it? Everyone doomed to dissolve. One was not amused. In fact, one was positively bemused. When that problem was she knew full well that the prophecy would sure end as one of the seven. She also knew full well that one defies the... So yes, as you have no doubt surmised, it was a rather... I spent a terribly long time mulling it over. Alone on the ocean, I had to outwit the heavenly principles. Allow the prophecy to be I'm a genius, I know. I can only assume that's why Egeria chose me. Although, looking back now, it was hardly the inheritance one dreams of. Between the task of saving the nation... But one can only play the hand one is dealt. I did not choose this, any more than I chose...
So you were also once one of the Oceanids, transformed into a human by Egeria's...
Yes, I was. I always dreamed of becoming human. And I still do, even now. After becoming a god, I separated my divinity from my body and spirit, leaving behind only a self that was as naive and bewildered as my past. The me you see before you now is that divinity. And the human counterpart I left behind, I named Farina. She could feel joy, sorrow, and everything in between. She could be as vain and conceited. Her strengths were of a kind but in my eyes, Farina's humanity was what made her perfect. She was perfectly human and anyway, so then I cursed her. All part of the plan, of course. The plan to deceive that... Do you still remember the final scene of the prophecy? In order that the prophecy might appear fulfilled, I invited Farina to be an actress under the curse I placed on her. So long as I, Focalor's divinity, continued to exist, she could not die. But nor was she free to live. Instead, she was forced to take the stage in the opera house, to embrace the role of leading lady. I suppose now you probably understand why your court is called the Opera Epiclese.
But Farina is only human, isn't she? Even though she has had a long life, her mind is no stronger than that of any other. I cannot begin to fathom what she has had.
It has indeed. And although she is, in a sense, me in human form, it's been 500, and all along, she's been playing her part in the most unimaginably long, unbearably lonely, and...
Oh, who permitted you to come onto the stage? Now, all right, it is not my intent to reprimand you. There is no need to state your name. Oh, I am Focalor, the eyes of... Dear audience, the performance is experiencing a technical difficulty, but worry not. The guards shall resolve it soon enough. Hold that pose! Hey, what gives? The audience is still watching me, you know. Guards? Wait, where are the guards? Guards!
Busted. Take it easy. Farina.
Huh? Who's that? Who's calling me? Where are you?
Be not nervous. Be not afraid. I am
Wait a moment. You're... mirror me? How can...
Mirror you, huh? You know what?
Mirror me. What do you wish to say?
The prophecy. Have you heard of it?
What prophecy? Wait. I know. The people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only the Hydro Archon will remain.
Oh, very good.
What's going on? I can't seem to remember.
Yes, it will. And that is why I've come to...
But doesn't that mean everyone will die?
Oh, don't worry. Magical meetings exist. I will tell you how to save everyone, but you may have to suffer somewhat.
Oh, so there's still hope after all. As for the suffering, well, I will admit that the first thing that... But if the prophecy will come true, I'll also die anyway, right? If there were scales, with all the people of Fontaine.
You truly are the perfect human. I suppose this would also be the justice that belongs...
Huh?
Don't worry, it's nothing. Listen well. Fontaine has just lost its Hydro Archon. I need you to play a role.
Play as... a god?
That's right. You must begin a never-ending masquerade. If you can keep it up, then I shall have my way of defying this prophecy. But should your identity be revealed, then all hope will be lost.
But how will I do this? A human assuming the role of a god without being exposed.
Don't worry. What you must do is not to turn yourself into a... Being a human yourself, I'm sure you already know what such an... Remember, your true challenge will not be pursuing divinity, but contending against humanity.
I'm still not sure I understand, but I'll try. So, how long am I going to have to play?
To accomplish this mission, you will have to stay on the stage for many, many years. You will endure and not grow old until your task ends. But I promise you, all will eventually end in a magnificent and dramatic trial.
A trial? Huh. How exciting. The Maison Cardinalise has announced my accession. What should I say to most appear like a god? To be honest... Ladies and gentlemen, good evening, and welcome to the opera. I'm sure you've all heard about how I have taken on the role of Hydro Archon. Indeed, I am, in truth, I know little about becoming a nation's new god, but it will be my honor to guide you all. As the god Focalor, the god of justice, I shall do all within my power to lead you into an age of fairness and... Once again, thank you all for coming. If you should have any questions or suggestions, please send... This should do it. I thought I might stammer, but thankfully, I was able to.
That's the new Hydro Archon. Is this some kind of joke by the Maison? I would have thought that a being that surpasses humanity.
Hey, did you hear that? She even told us to send her suggestions.
Shouldn't gods be all-powerful? She's being so modest.
If you ask me, perhaps the succession didn't actually happen. She might just—
Wait, what's going on? Why is right? Mirmi said that I just need to play the role. Calm down, Farina. Think. Assertive, with a strong sense of presence. One who can dispel all doubt. Oh, very good, my people. Only ones such as you are deserving of my rule. Now, I was wondering if some weak puppet were to one day come onto the stage and claim... Well, it seems that you would all see right through them. You may consider my previous act a door gift of sort. Now then, let us be
So that was just a performance. How could I have forgotten that we were—
Personality? It's quite shocking, to be honest, but I suppose it's a better look than before.
Such a fascinating and bold deity. How wonderful! Our future may yet be bright after all.
It seems I've turned them around. Best follow this flow and restart my accession speech. My dear people, whether you acknowledge me or not, whether you trust me or nay, I say to you, we have heard it said that this nation's sins can no longer be washed away. The scales of justice should not weigh heavy in the hands of it. May law be the prayer on our lips. May judgment be our worship. There is no trouble in this world that, so long as I, the Archon Focalor, stand within the opera epiclet.
Lady Farina, here are today's case reports as well.
Come now, was I not just at the Opera House in Besides, none of the—
If I may be so
A magnificent
That's true, I fear I lack the ability—
No need for fright, and do not take what I said before too seriously. Go now.
Lady Farina, I—
No need to thank me. Oh, I'm afraid that's— All right. Deuteria, is it?
You remember? He's doing much better now.
Oh, good. Very good.
Oh, you're such a gentle and wise god.
Lady Farina, here are the latest hydrological reports.
I see. It's as I thought, then. As your god, I did already expect this. All manner of signs indicate that the prophecy will still come to...
Well, as I understand it, the Fontaine Research Institute is also trying to find a way—
Really? Have they found...
I'm afraid—
Oh, is that so? Well, no wonder. The day is finally over. I haven't had a moment, but it's good to see that everything's getting on track. There are no long. Maybe this is fine. I just need to keep. All right.
Lady Farina, here are the new trial reports for the latest cases.
There'll be no need for that. I've seen them already. They're...
Lady Farina,
Indeed, my dear loyal citizen.
Lady Farina, we're detecting significant hydrological anomalies near Poisson.
Understood. Keep monitoring. Keep me informed should anything come up at the Institute. I don't think I let anything... I just... don't know. I feel utterly exhausted. Best to rest early today, too.
Lady Farina, it's like a dream. I've heard that the first member of our family who was honored.
And what a fine family yours is indeed.
Surely you exaggerate.
What is it, good citizen?
Are you crying?
Really now? This must be the overflow of hydro from my person. Well, can't quite help being the god.
No wonder.
So interminable. So lonely. Hundreds of years must have passed by now. Perhaps the show must go on for hundreds. I never imagined that it would hurt so much. Have I reached my limit? I want to tell someone, anyone, about this. But with that, I've conducted so many investigations across the centuries. All I can do is keep heart. I must maintain this act. And as
Farina, you don't have to shoulder this burden alone. Although I don't know what you might be keeping from everyone, your people are more than willing to share your burden with you.
share my burden. That's impossible. It was fated right from the start that this would be my due.
But even if your burden doesn't need to be shared, you can still choose to confide in someone. Just share it with me.
I'm a witness. Yes, I've heard that you came to Tevat from... And if Tevat is, in its entirety, a show on a stage, then you're just a If that... She's right. I could confide in her, couldn't? But if things don't play out as expected, the people of Fontaine will be the ones to pay the... No, Farina, you shouldn't be selfish. But what if it's really... Farina,
You've worked so hard for so long. Surely, is it such an outrageous thing to do anyway? To find someone in whom you can confide your frustrations. If you let this opportunity slip through your fingers, it might never come. Think about it. Long and hard.
No, I have nothing to say. All you need to do, dear spectator, is to witness my performance until the curtains.
Fine.
So even Farina doesn't know the truth? You've never once let her in on the full plan?
Yes, it had to be done. To deceive the heavenly principles, you must first deceive yourself. She did very well. If she had let her resolve falter even once in these 5 centuries, Fontaine would have been doomed to the most tragic fate. It seems that trusting humanity was the right decision after all.
I believe that I understand how your deception works, but that is only half the truth, is it not? How would you build on this foundation to save the people of Fontaine? That is the most important.
Ah, good. Of course, the Iudex of Fontaine has pinpointed the crux of the issue. I'm sure you've long sensed that the Oratrice is no simple machine, yes?
I've always suspected that it had its own consciousness, and Lenny did mention that he heard a human voice within the core chamber. It now seems that that person was you, hidden within the machine all along.
And then I became one with the Oratrice, taking Fontaine's gnosis with me. Yes. It would seem so, wouldn't it? Alas, your understanding of this device, in truth, it is no enactor of justice. It is, in fact. Oh, you have it. And to be more precise, not only will the Oratrice take down the god of justice, it will... I mean, did you think I would be the sort to enjoy peaceful repose while Farina suffered? My work over these last 500 years has been to constantly accumulate indemnitium within the Oratrice. But really, some have already discovered that only a small fraction of the vast majority had to be.
It was all part of your plan then? Both the...
Indeed. This power, accrued over 5 centuries, could have sustained Fontainians for millennia, had it but only power of this magnitude could hope to destroy the Hydro Archon's divine throne.
So the Oratrice's call for death was for neither Farina nor Focalor, but for the Hydra. The destruction of that divine throne.
Returning what's rightfully yours to you, of course. In other words, this was all done to return the authority of the Hydro Archon to the Hydro Dragon of this planet.
But...
Oh, what? Getting sad again, are we? The authority of the ancient dragons shall soon be yours once more, O Hydro Dragon Sovereign. And this is the face you make.
all you've done throughout the years is just so you can sacrifice yourself at the very end.
I've never quite seen it that way, you know. Even now, I'm quite pleased at how well my deception worked. Hydro Dragon, don't cry. I must say, had it been within my rights, I would have loved to judge the heavenly principles themselves. Were they not guilty of essentially the same crime? Egeria stole the power of the primordial sea, and the heavenly principles stole the power you ancient dragons possessed. I, for my part, am the god of justice. And is it not just that you're... Speaking of justice, I have always believed that justice lies in the process of pursuing... So, if the theft of the primordial sea's might was Fontaine's... then, leaving matters of procedural right and wrong aside, the descent of the Fontaine... In other words, existence was Egeria's justice, defying the prophecy and ensuring that Fontaine's people shall live on. At this point, we, whether it be myself or all other Fontainians, have shouldered the burden of this sin for far too long. Iudex Nervillet, the highest judge in our land, when you regain your full power as an elemental sovereign.
So when I was invited to the court of Fontaine to serve as Iudex, at last, I now understand the true purpose. In the beginning, I was uninterested in human existence. But these 5 centuries of living alongside, you are a devious one, Focalor. Things being as they are, surely you know that I could never declare them to be guilty.
The hour of my execution is almost here. For the sinner, the curtain call has come. I know I may not sound it, but faced with death, I find myself a little afraid. Perhaps this is one thing both gods and humans have in common. Farewell, Nervillet. I hope you've enjoyed the part you played these 500 years.
Iudex Nervillet, hereby declare, people of Fontaine, your sins are forgiven.
If you're not sure what...
What just happened? Has the death sent...
Was that bright light some sort of misdirection?
But since we're all still alive and haven't been dissolved, I assume...
It's time to end this. We must mete out punishment to that beast.
Didn't you say just a moment ago that it can't be defeated?
I have gained the strength sufficient to deal with it. Through certain means, I now have the ability to separate the power of the primordial sea from that creature. We should seize the opportunity to pursue our quarry. Traveler, now that the oratories can no longer function, I require an executor to help me mete out justice. The root of the calamities befalling Fontaine, the beast that enacts the prophecy. Its name is the all-devouring narwhal. Come with me, traveler. Considering the size of the beast, I cannot reach the power source. Yes, find a way to attack it. I shall share a part of the ancient dragon. We shall look for it together.
Take it easy.
I can feel its sorrow turning into hostility.
Busted. These are about to get dicey.
The all-devouring narwhal cannot resist its instinct to devour. Continue to trigger its hostility. Chance will present itself. I have granted you my protection. Do not fear. Seize the moment. Use my power to suppress its root from within.
Shower me with praise! Smile!
Thanks for helping with the cleanup. It should have been my job, but... oh well. It was just supposed to be a short private training session for me. I didn't think that my disciple and my master's pet would start brawling in the meantime. Well, actually, I had a feeling that it would happen at some point, but they—
That power. Who are you exactly?
Paimon has an idea. From what she said earlier, she must be Child's master. Skirk, right? It's just that he has the impression that she was the less talkative person.
I simply did not have anything to say to the weak. But you, on the other hand, so you may speak to me as equals. I have to agree. It's a strange use of a planet's primordial waters just to raise an all-devouring narwhal. That kind of power is wasted on it. It's not cooperative, it eats too much, and I have more important things to do with my time than pet sitting. The only thing that creature has going for it is its looks. All in all, it fails as a pet.
Miss Skirk? I think you might have missed the point.
The point being?
Well, being that this pet almost destroyed an entire nation. So what sort of person is your master? Well, Child's master's master.
Oh, right. So you don't know him. Sorry, I assumed you did. His name is Sir Taloji.
I am unfamiliar with that.
Huh. So Master isn't sufficiently famous. How should I—
The foul?
Still nothing? Well, how about the
Ooh, that one we've heard! Rhine Doctor's part of the Hexen Circle. She's Albedo's—
Oh, so you do know that name. To be honest, I also heard all of those names and titles from my master. I don't actually know them either. But I suppose you understand now, yes? My master is likely a similar sort to Rhine Daughter.
Wait! Didn't you also mention a visionary person? Paimon didn't quite catch their name.
Actually, never mind that. I believe it expedient to inform you that the all-devouring narwhal used up nearly all its strength fighting you. Such roiling hydro energies will prove difficult for the planet's deep seas to digest. As such, the fontaine back on the surface has most likely been— In other words, the prophecy that you've been fretting over should now—
What?
Not to worry. Focalor has already managed to deceive the heavenly—
In the end, the people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only Farina will remain, weeping on her throne. Only then will the sins of the people of Fontaine be washed away.
All hands, initiate emergency rescue! Hurry! Hey, lend a hand!
The water's receding!
It's a miracle!
Water's receding.
We didn't dissolve. The prophecy was wrong. The prophecy was wrong!
We're saved. The prophecy was wrong.
The steambird is an The soil renewed! The Sfina talks post-disaster rebuilding. I recently visited Poisson to meet with Miss Navia, spokesperson of the Sfina. Old soil can still give birth to new bloom, Miss Navia stated. Hope is like seeing a small cookie when you're starving late at night. Skyship Winglet, lunar brain of the Fontaine Research Institute. The various disputes that have arisen on account of Mr. Edwin have suddenly become a shield over the Institute, which people always call the first researcher mad, but few know what to call the second. And should that latter person achieve a miracle, they would find it all the harder. Wow! Paimon barely recognizes the people in the reports. Are those really Jury or not?
What do you think? Pretty enthralling, huh? The Steambird's idea was pretty simple. With the disaster, the value for these big scoops lies in their inevitable follow-ups. We'll publish further reports. Edwin's assistant, Jurier, created a true flying ship, while Navia is leading people in the reconstruction of their home. I'm sure that these stories could draw even your well-traveled eye.
Paimon's curious too! Wait a minute. Didn't we watch everything happen from start to finish? What's there to be curious about?
And that's exactly why I'd like you to come conduct interviews with me. You're the best incubators of news, if you haven't noticed. And also, with you around, I'm sure I'll get to see that Duke.
Are you sure? Hasn't he turned you down several times already?
Oh, this time will be different. Come on, let's head to Poisson first, and then make a trip to...
Oh, it's you.
Hey, we're just having a look around.
I'm here to update myself on how things are going here.
Let me introduce you. This is Mr. Garunt Snežević. He represented the Knave. Our residents are hard at work as well. Thanks to everyone, work is progressing nicely.
Hello, Miss Charlotte. I'm a big fan of yours. I especially like that article you wrote last year about Fontaine. But if you don't mind, could you not emphasize our role too much in your report?
I get where you're coming from. I'll keep it as simple as possible. Or would you be willing to feature as friendly?
That would be fine. Thanks.
Oh, you're back too. How are things?
We finished laying down the construction materials. It'll be another hour before the workers are able—
Huh? You're here too, Clarence?
Well, her reputation's greatly risen after that whole duel business with Miss Farina. So she's here in Poisson to wait out the heat. All right.
There's too much to consider in the reconstruction of Poisson. The Spina has need of more decision-makers. And, well, I do already happen to be connected to Mr. Callis.
Oh, wait just a moment. Do you mind me asking a few questions? You know, about how you felt before the duel, about what it was like facing down a god.
Forget it. I'm sure you can find a better theme than that, Miss Charlotte.
I see you're the same as always. Couldn't you do me a favor?
Well, if we're talking about doing things for my sake, you might as well just take a few more photos of me. Or of the—
Of course I will. I'm not gonna let her off that easy. All right, then everyone who wants to be in the photo, gather up. And
How did it go? Was it a good shot? Did Paimon look cute?
not bad. Your addition really helped the composition of the picture. All right, hang on a moment. Let me snap a few more shots. All right, that should do it. I'll be back here later anyway, so let's call it a day.
You're very quick.
Speed is of the essence when it comes to the news. And also, not to brag, but I'm pretty good at building connections. Who knows?
Wow, you really do have that.
I'll hazard a guess that this is how you got that interview at the Fortress of Maripede.
Whoa, you're well informed. Let me make—
That's a very—
In truth, all Monsieur Neuvillette asked me was, when did the fortress— I told him that it was best not to speak too soon. There's no guarantee that Ridesley will make—
You're right. I've got to treasure every moment I have with them.
Stay safe now. And tell me if you hear anything interesting.
Wow, guess we're here again, huh? There's a real
Looks like you've been missing us.
Duke! Did you come all the way to the entrance?
Of course. I'm here to welcome you and our dear Miss Charlotte, whom our good head nurse—
It's an honor to finally meet the much-rumored Duke. Thank you for consenting to my visit to the fortress, sir.
No need to thank me. But that said, I shouldn't be the focus of your interview. I trust you recall our agreement?
Of course, of course.
All right then, this way.
Hey, no need to be
It would seem that Miss Lorvine doesn't want—
Sir, please don't say—
But it looks like dear Mr.
No, I just—
Now, I might not look it, but I actually did the boat that brought about a miracle. Still, if I might ask—
Looks like Charlotte's trying to get—
I have to apologize, but that ship is presently in the bow—
Really? Well, then in that case—
You already know my answer, I'm afraid. Best you interview our head nurse instead. Or perhaps—
Did you really have to use the word couple? Well, then, 2 solo photos will do.
Is my hair messed up? Please, someone help.
Things sure are getting pretty lively here. Oh, seems like everyone's here. Would any of you like to try this new drink I came up with?
Ah, Siegeween.
Hey, Miss Charlotte. Sure. Come on, Miss...
Sure. Do I have to smile? So, how have things been at the...
Same old, as you can see.
Other than that flying ship.
That's why I decided to let the interview go through. We should direct more public opinions toward...
You're too kind, sir.
I see. Lots of things happened that day, huh?
He sure did win the...
I'll tell them that there's good news and bad news. The good being that their boss seems...
Oh, actually...
What change can there be? As to what Miss Farina's departure will mean for the nation, and if our laws and governance will be transformed, we'll...
Hey, everyone. The photo shoot's done.
Good. In that case, let's call it a day.
Thanks for your cooperation. Come on, Traveler, let's go.
There'll be a next time?
Maybe. Who knows? I might... All right. Last stop, the docks. Navia mentioned that she stayed in touch with...
Traveler, Paimon. Ah, and Miss Charlotte, too.
Would you like a magic pocket?
What sort of gadget is it?
It's a wondrous bag that can be used to carry many things. The water level has returned to normal, but if you see any of your things floating around, you can use this to carry them. Or you could trick a friend into doing it for you.
Trick a friend? I wonder which of my friends would fall for that.
You could just make a friend like Fremine here. Isn't that right, Fremine?
Is this what you meant by, I'll help you make some more friends?
To be honest, that sounds pretty sweet. Could I have your contact, please?
Sure.
You sure are working hard to help Fremine socialize.
He was the one who proposed doing this. He even wants to assist in our magic...
Yes, I was planning to first introduce Pear as an...
That said, would anyone want to see a diver escape underwater?
Oh, it'll work out.
Lynette, could you come over?
Got it.
My, that Charlotte is rather perceptive. She got... Father says that you did a great deal during the latest events. She's very grateful.
That's all right. We were more than happy to help.
Oh, I guess you haven't heard. After Lady Farina left, Father and Monsieur Nervillet opened negotiations, during which he gave Fontaine's no...
A diplomatic gift?
Yes, I was quite surprised at first myself. But when I thought it over, it could have been done as an apology for the incident with Lord Child, or as thanks for his help in time. Furthermore, Father did also lend
That's true.
I would agree, but I've all...
So there's some reason for...
I suspect you'll have to ask him about the...
Isn't he real busy? But back to the topic. Then...
They say that he's returned to Snezhnaya to recover from his wounds. I hear that the recent...
That's true. When you think about it, we've had loads of run-ins.
So shocked by such a simple switching of sides?
Father!
Well, what do you know? Come to the docks to see how my children are doing and meet the Traveler by chance. Please do not pay my accomplishments in Fontaine too much mind. I would have done them regardless.
Are you going to take the Gnosis back to Snezhnaya?
That is our duty as harbingers. Yes, don't be too preoccupied with sides. The goal of the Fatui concerns not a single place or person, but the entire world. With such a grand goal in mind, it is inevitable. Switching my masks is something I've always done. Well, that depends on many things. No one truly knows what the future holds, what good is on. As for you, I very much look forward to our next collaboration. Good things cannot be achieved alone, and you've proved yourselves to be great partners. A vision? All right. I'll remember to return it.
And that's a wrap for me. Huh?
Greetings, Miss Journalist.
Hello. If I'm not mistaken, there are diplomatic channels I'll need to report.
That is correct. So forgive me, but I will not be able to serve as a subject in your article. However, feel free to write as much as you'd like about our...
I will.
The sea breeze is quite pleasant.
Farewell, Father.
Oh, she has such an intimidating presence. I didn't even dare to take a picture. Thankfully, I've already wrapped up all my pre-scheduled interviews.
Don't be too nervous. Why don't you take a magic pocket before you go? Here, Traveler, Paimon, you...
To move things about?
That's right. I guess this must be All right, then.
Well, guess you said Charlotte, huh? Shall we go see what Nervillet's doing? You really are here, Nervillet. Paimon didn't think you were going to have free time.
Really? Oh, I suppose you must have met Mr. Linney. He took the time to greet me earlier when he passed this way. In any case, you came at a good time. I was just considering reaching out.
Aw, Paimon's glad that you remembered. Thank you for keeping us on your... All right, let's have it then. How was Fontaine actually saved?
It is...
So that's what happened? Focalord destroyed the divine throne of the Hyde, but Paimon still doesn't quite get what you did to save...
For me, the authority of the ancient dragons refers to absolute... Fontainians were incomplete humans born of Egeria's use of the power of the primordial sea. But so long as those primordial energies remain within them. In other words, when I gave my verdict, Fontanians became true humans, and thus would naturally no longer...
Focalor must have counted on you to make that decision as well. Your verdict was the key to making the prophecy appear to have come. Yeah, and in a manner of speaking, Focalor finally managed to fulfill the original Hydro...
It seems from your expressions that you still have more things you wish to ask. Ask away. I will tell you the truth as I know it. I have investigated his case along many avenues, and I have learned that he once fell into an... But whether it be by sentiment or reason, that should not have been enough to consider him. As for the judgment passed by the Oratrice during the trial, whether it was due to that liability by association...
Guess Focalor had Fontanians in mind the whole time. In the end, it was thanks to her that they finally became real humans. Hang on a second. Paimon said back when Fontanians hadn't yet become real humans.
Life has always flowed like water. Do you recall how Fontanians would often come to the Fountain of Lucine to pray for...
Yeah! Lynette said the fountain is where all the waters in Fontaine converge.
In truth, even those couples did not know that such prayers were no mere custom. Those Oceanids who were blessed within the spring water would later descend as new humans in the coming months.
Paimon sorta gets it now.
Ask away. I will tell you the truth as I know it.
Yeah, about that. Risley said Farina has already left.
Ah, Lady Farina. The people are only aware that her death sentence has not been carried out. She abdicated the post of Hydro Archon and left affairs related to that title to me. I related Focalor's words to her faithfully and completely. After hearing them, she seemed neither saddened nor... She simply said that she was tired and needed... Having said that, she then packed her things and moved out of the opera house. Not unlike how an ordinary person might.
But she's still got a place to...
You need not worry. I will make arrangements to ensure that she will not want for food, clothing, board, or... In truth, I am somewhat happy for her. The wear and tear on her spirit will, of course, take time. But now that she no longer has to play the role of Focalor the Hydro Archon, she can finally lay down her burdens and lead a normal life.
What about you then? What are your plans now that you've regained your full powers as the Hydro Dragon?
After Focalor passed on, the Oratrice also ceased to function. This matter will directly affect our trials. After much careful consideration, I've decided to take over its role in our courts. From now on, I shall hear cases and pass verdicts by myself.
Looks like you're still considering stuff from the perspective of the Udex, huh?
As an elemental dragon, there are indeed many things that I must do. But this power and this duty, in a manner of speaking, you could say that both were granted to me. As such, before I attend to my other responsibilities, I must first and foremost continue to serve Fontaine as its highest judge. The duty of the Hydro Sovereign and the duty of the Udex shall... Additionally, the Hydro Archon's departure has brought about another problem, which is that the Opera House shall no longer produce indemnity.
That's true. That power was derived from the people's faith in the Wait, but the various mechs and machines in the city are all still okay. Where are they getting the...
As I am now, I have full command over New Musia, and it can serve as a complete substitute.
Wow. This ancient dragon's authority stuff is really quite useful, huh?
Ask away. I will tell you the truth as I know it.
Oh, that's right! They say you've given it to the knave as a diplomatic gift.
Leaving aside their intentionality, the two Fatui Harbingers have indeed done much for us during this crisis. Their sole remaining goal in Fontaine, at least at this point, would seem to be the Gnosis. The Oratrice has ceased to function. The Hydro Archon's divine throne is now no more, and I do not need the Gnosis's power. As such, it has lost all meaning for Fontaine. If the Fatui have impure designs, then we might as well accede to their request now, and avoid unnecessary conflict.
What complicated considerations? Paimon thought you were just giving it to them out of gratitude to the...
Ask away. I will tell you the truth as I know it. You will soon be heading to Natlan, I presume? I'm afraid that I have little talent as a travel guide, so all I can do is tell you what I know about that land. As far as I'm aware, Natlon can be said to be a nation of dragons.
A nation of dragons? You mean—
No, I suspect that I would not find myself welcome there. Unlike ancient dragons such as myself, the dragons of Natlon have undergone long years of development and evolution. Natlon is also the nation of war. War ravages those lands like an undying flame. There is one other piece of information I got incidentally from my negotiations with the Knave that I believe may be useful. The Harbinger known as the Captain has thrown his hat into the endless ring of war.
The Captain? Sounds like a real tough customer. Seriously, everywhere you looked—
I suggest that you fully prepare yourself before going to Natlon. In the meantime, Fontaine's doors will always be open to you. Ask away. I will tell you the truth as I know it.
Hang on a sec. Paimon's still got a question about the— When we spoke to Linny earlier, he mentioned that your attitude towards giving away the Gnosis had clearly changed. We guessed that there might be some reason for it that only you were aware of.
No wonder the House of the Hearth is the Fatui's intelligence division. They are certainly sharp. So regarding this specific issue, I was just getting ready to share something.
What is it?
In truth, I exchanged some further words with that lady named Skirk after sending you two back to the surface. It went something like this.
Well, we're going to head topside to see what's going on. You hurry over soon as well, all right, Nervalet?
What next?
The all-devouring narwhal isn't here, so I'm no longer getting any interference. I can finally catch the scent of your power, what it's made of. It is the authority of the planet's primordial dragons, but with something very similar to a god's curse mixed in. It's quite a novel. I'm sure I've encountered something like this before. What was it again?
I do not know what you speak of.
Ah, of course. How could I forget? You should have the remains of the third descender on your person, yes?
Remains? I've never heard of any such thing.
According to your parlance, I believe it may be called a—
Well, that much is true. After Focalor's divinity faded, she handed her gnosis to me. But I fear I have never heard of it described in the manner that you just did.
I've been training with my master, the Foul, ever since I was young, and I have never returned to the surface since. So most of the information I possess, it is only natural for those who are greater than humanity to possess a different sort of common sense. Which is why there are so many regardless, you should probably get rid of objects of misfortune to prevent any disasters from befalling you. To live in itself is a blessing. But once a person dies, the bonds he once had with this world shall all—
What do you mean by that?
No need to fret. These are just my personal thoughts.
This third descender you refer to, who are they?
Master never mentioned them to me. Perhaps it just wasn't that important for me to know. If you're interested, though, I could ask him. I'll be sure to pass the answer on to you next time.
Next time? You believe we will meet again?
I do. Wait. I have a disciple of my own, don't I? He can be the—
That's what she told me. Whether it would prove useful or not, I wanted to pass that information on to you.
The remains of the third descender? So that's what the no-sees actually are. Paimon just thought they looked like chess pieces. How could they be a person's remains?
All the same, assuming that there was no misunderstanding or special metaphor at play, that is what she meant to say.
And she said that it would bring misfortune and that you should check it, which is why you gave it to the Fatui.
If she speaks the truth, then I would simply be putting Fontaine at unnecessary risk by keeping it here. I had guessed that you might already be familiar with this concept, but I did not expect you to be one of them. That means that the no-sees, which are exceedingly element-compatible and can even enhance elemental abilities, do indeed come from the third descender. I wonder, does your body also possess similar properties?
Like being able to use elemental powers without a vision! That does— No, let's not think about this stuff right now. It just feels creepy, comparing the Traveler to the dead third descender and all. That's what you say, but this topic still feels like bad luck! Once Child recovers, let's get some more answers out of him. Or go look for his master and get the answers that way!
I too believe it unwise to make too many blind guesses when information is lacking. The same is true of being at court.
Alright. Whatever the case, it seems like the crisis here in Fontaine's over for now.
Yes. All of Focalor's efforts were for this moment as well.
But she sacrificed herself in the end as a god, and she suffered through all those years as a human.
I suppose that would be the mystery of a god's will. I suspect not. But once in a while, I too would guess that if wishes were like the clouds in the sky, they will one day return to the earth as raindrop. Life flows like water, and rain is the final answer. The water levels may sometimes tilt one way or another, and what ultimately is the difference between the rain?